Some burning horror questions are going to be answered in today's video, like is Scooby-Doo just a regular non-talking dog now? And what were the deleted scenes for Scream 7? Now let's get into it.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I want to be a fighter, like you.
Oh, let it burn! Let it burn!
Did you miss me?
You have to shoot them in the head. They always come back.
The boat can leave now. Tell the crew.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Good luck.
Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake. Today we're about to get into some really exciting new horror updates, but before we do all of that, please make sure to like this video and subscribe for more horror update videos just like this one. All right, now let's get into the news. Everyone is going banana pancakes over a brand new teaser for the Scooby-Doo Origins prequel series that is heading to Netflix very soon here. It shows us Shaggy Rogers, played by Tanner Hagen this time around, picking up little Scooby-Doo. The problem is Scooby-Doo appears to be a normal dog and not like a 3D model of the cartoon via the James Gunn movies. I personally don't have a problem with this because we've already learned that Frank Welker, the original voice of Scooby-Doo, as well as Fred, will be voicing the dog in this show as well. So while it might be kind of weird at first to see a regular looking dog be all anthropomorphic on screen, I guess I don't really mind it, especially after that movie Strays that came out a couple years ago.
What did you just say? I would hate for this to get violent.
Look, the dog talks. That's really all that matters. Freddie Prinze Jr. understands that.
It wasn't a boy's cartoon or a girl's cartoon or any of those things.
It was a talking dog, you know what I mean?
And speaking of the James Gunn movies, we recently heard from Linda Cardellini, who is of course Velma Dinkley in those live action movies from the early aughts, that she would not be against doing some sort of cameo in this brand new series. During an interview with Deadline, where she was mostly talking about her role playing Pamela Voorhees in the upcoming Crystal Lake series, she talked a bit about Scooby-Doo Origins, saying, "Oh, I would never rule that out. I loved that cartoon growing up more than anything, and the idea that I got to be in the movie was so shocking to me, and that kids who grew up with it talk about it to me to this day." Cardellini also passes the torch, sending some well wishes here to Abby Ryder-Fortson, who plays Velma Dinkley in the brand new series. Now, Linda Cardellini's great, don't get me wrong, but could we get a cameo with the entire live action cast from back in the day? I mean, the whole point of this series is to show us a younger version of Mystery Incorporated. Could we also get an older version of them too? I think that would be pretty funny. Those movies were a huge part of my childhood. I can't wait to see what they do with this brand new series. The It Follows sequel has been teased to us for some time now, but it sounds like it's finally getting going. It seems as if director David Robert Mitchell is getting moving on production. We've heard recently from Deadline that Micah Monroe is confirmed to be back for the sequel, as well as Naomi Ackie, who is in talks to play some sort of new role. Horror fans probably recognize Naomi from Blink Twice, but I absolutely loved her in Mickey 17. I saw some people posting about this too, so just to clarify, Micah Monroe will be back as Jay in this upcoming film. That's kind of already been confirmed. Naomi is going to be playing some sort of new role here. So no, this movie's not going to just shift the focus onto another character, which actually I'm kind of down for. I feel like, especially with how It Follows ends, that if you're going to do a sequel, you kind of have to pick up right where you left off. That ambiguous ending is no longer ambiguous. I have no idea what we're about to get into, but I do have faith it's coming from the same creative mind as the original David Robert Mitchell, who, by the way, has a really exciting looking new movie coming out this August called The End of Oak Street. That's the one where Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway's house is transported back in time millions of years during the dinosaur times, and they have to fight them off in order to save their family. That's the thing I love about David Robert Mitchell. He is all about those crazy high concept ideas and doing them to the best of his ability. It Follows is a total fucking banger. I expect that one to be the same, and hopefully the sequel also rocks very hard. And also, I like to end every single It Follows sequel update with this little note: if you don't get Disaster Piece to do the sequel, I don't want it. Dead ass. I don't even want it if Disaster Piece isn't doing the music. Don't even make it. Speaking of weird continuations to weird-ass movies, Jimmy and Stiggs is getting another movie. The latest from writer-director Joe Begos is Jimmy and Stiggs, a movie that came out in the middle of last year from Eli Roth's The Horror Section. In fact, it was the first movie to be theatrically released by The Horror Section, and I thought it really kicked ass. It's basically Evil Dead 2, but with aliens in a cramped apartment. It's super ambitious filmmaking that you gotta respect, even if the story isn't necessarily all the way there. The one thing that the movie absolutely delivered on is a neon nightmare of splatter. There's lots of blood and guts in this very unique little alien horror film. Now we're hearing that director Sebastian De Caro will be directing a brand new spin-off project in the same universe as Jimmy and Stiggs. This continuation isn't exactly a straight remake, even though it will follow two characters fighting off aliens in their apartment, this time set in Argentina rather than California. Eli Roth and Joe Begos will serve as executive producers on the project. While at first this seems like such a bizarre update, it kind of makes sense, right? Jimmy and Stiggs, while yes, it did take Joe Begos 4 years to make in his apartment with little to no money, it is something that can be replicated. I mean, it's a simple story. It's two dudes with their issues and their beef having to kind of put that aside to work together to fight off this alien threat. As long as you deliver some splatter, it doesn't really matter if the drama doesn't necessarily hit. With that being said though, I feel like Jimmy and Stiggs could kind of be like its own weird little Evil Dead franchise where you kind of just throw it to different filmmakers and then they make whatever they come up with. Keep the premise of a single location, aliens are coming down to fight you and you gotta rip them to pieces. Think about what the Evil Dead franchise is doing right now, apply that to Jimmy and Stiggs, we could make this a whole new franchise in the horror section universe. I'm totally down for that. Let me know what you guys thought about Jimmy and Stiggs down in the comments below, and if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend this weird little movie. Again, it's not perfect, but it's totally worth a watch if you love splatter flicks. Another very bizarre update from this past week is we got to see the trailer for a brand new Austin Abrams horror film called WHALEFALL. The creature feature centers on a scuba diver played by Austin Abrams in search of his deceased father's remains. He ends up getting swallowed by an 80-foot, 60-ton sperm whale and has only 1 hour to escape before his oxygen runs out. Now, not only is the trailer super duper intense, just showcasing the scene where Austin gets swallowed up by the sperm whale, but the cast for this thing is fucking stacked. First of all, Josh Brolin plays his father, the one that is seemingly dead. That makes this whole thing a Zach Cregger Weapons reunion. But on top of that, you have Elizabeth Shue, who is great in Piranha 3D, John Ortiz from Alien vs. Predator Requiem, you know, the Too Dark to See sequel, Jane Levy, one of my all-time favorite final girls from Evil Dead 2013, and Emily Rudd from the Fear Street movies. Holy goddamn! This is the first I'm hearing about this movie, and it has just shot up my list. I am so incredibly excited for this, dropping on October 16th of this year. 2026 just keeps getting better and better and better for original horror, man. This is gonna bang. One of the biggest stories we're going to talk about today is the fact that The Exorcist from Mike Flanagan has just wrapped production. Flanagan posted a picture of an upside-down purple cross on his Instagram saying, "That's a wrap. What an incredible experience. Forever grateful to this extraordinary cast and crew." I also think it's incredibly funny that Brian Fuller wrote underneath this, "Wait, did Prince possess someone?" Now, I know that most people have probably given up on the Exorcist franchise at this point. I think the majority of people hate pretty much every sequel except for maybe Exorcist 3. I'm a defender of Exorcist 3, I think that movie totally rips. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that the original classic is still the best one by far. We don't really need another sequel in this franchise, but what I will say is that this one is coming from Mr. Mike Flanagan. I think Mike is easily one of the most formidable horror directors in the space right now, and truly has not missed. Pretty much every project he's been a part of has been something unique or really spectacular. I think with Mike behind the camera, this movie could be the very best Exorcist sequel. I think if this isn't a good sequel, we just need to lay this franchise to rest for good. A brand new trailer has come out this week for Pinocchio Unstrung. This will be the 5th entry in the Twisted Childhood universe, coming from director Reese Frake Waterfield. In terms of public domain horror, I feel like what Jagged Edge Productions is doing is easily some of my favorite stuff out there, and Pinocchio Unstrung seems like it could be the best in the entire franchise so far. Not only is the trailer super brutal, but it's very clearly hitting on some very thought-provoking themes, which, again, most other public domain horror isn't even trying to do.
I want to be just like you.
Nah, you don't. You're way cooler than me.
Most of these movies are just focused on turning a beloved children's character into a crazy slasher villain because they can. Jagged Edge is taking things a step further and actually making some pretty good horror movies, in my opinion. The cast is also looking insane for this. Horror legend Robert Englund will be voicing the sinister Cricket, who has some sharp little fingers that remind me of a certain glove-wearing dream killer.
Piece by piece, we'll take everything you need to be real.
And then we can't forget about Geppetto, played by another legend of horror, Richard Brake here. On top of all of that, Todd Masters from the Child's Play franchise is doing the special effects for another great killer doll horror movie. Dude, this is gonna be the best one. I'm very confident about that. If you haven't been crazy about the Pooniverse so far, I highly recommend you see this one. It might change your mind. Check out Pinocchio Unstrung on July 24th of this year. I can't wait for this. 2026 is about halfway over, and it has proved to be one of the best years for horror maybe ever. And in terms of franchise continuations, the movie I'm the most excited for moving into the rest of the year is easily Evil Dead Burn. We recently got a brand new shot of Alice, the lead in the film, played by Suela Jacob. Director Sebastian Vianacek talked a little bit about this character in an interview with Empire, saying, "When we created Alice, we wanted a character who's really grounded. She's mourning someone, she arrives in this house, and crazy stuff happens. I wanted to create characters that are behaving like it's real life." So to some Evil Dead fans' dismay, I don't think this movie's gonna feel like Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. That kind of feels larger than life. We can already tell from the trailers that Evil Dead Burn is gonna be much more akin to Evil Dead 2013 or Evil Dead Rise. I hope that this movie is able to find something that makes it unique. Listen, I'm not gonna complain that much. I can already tell I'm gonna love this movie. Evil Dead 2013 and Evil Dead Rise are easily some of my favorite sequels to any franchise of all time. Any movie that's trying to simulate that, I'm probably gonna dig. But I think for the general audience, this movie needs to answer the question of, why do I need to exist? I hope they found the answer to that in its central family, and also this main character Alice, who seems a little different than some of the characters we've gotten before. My theory as of right now is that her husband is gonna come back to life as a Deadite, serving as our big bad of the film. We've also gotten some new footage from Evil Dead Burn, including a clip that showcases the entire candle drinking scene.
Cheers.
Evil Dead really is for the masochists, isn't it? And on top of that, a brand new vertical video shows us some new footage of some of the Deadites in this flick. I get why some fans are wary about this. It does look very similar to the last two movies, but is that such a bad thing? I don't know, man. I cannot wait for Evil Dead Burn dropping on July 10th. This movie can't come soon enough. I want to give a big shout out to Scream News over on Twitter, who has posted some of the deleted scenes from Scream 7 online. Let's break some of these down and talk about if they should have stayed in the movie or not. Starting off with a deleted scene from the opening here, we can see Scott opening up a suitcase to discover a Ghostface costume. Honestly, I kind of wish they had left this in. This might have made Scott a little more suspicious in the opening scene. After all, we did get a Ghostface reveal in the previous film's opening sequence. Who's to say that Scott couldn't have been set up for the same thing? Next up is a scene of Jessica comforting Sydney after Hannah's death at the high school.
Did you know that this was gonna happen? No, I didn't know this would happen.
While it's interesting to see Jessica kind of probing Sydney a little bit, asking if she knew that this was coming, I don't really think this scene is necessary, and I'm kind of happy it was cut. Then there's a scene at the bar way later on in the film where Tatum and Ben have to leave. Chad sort of tries to stop Ben from leaving here, telling him that they should all stick together, but Big Ben here gives him the business.
You don't like dude? How about bro or asshole?
Fuck's your problem?
I'm especially glad that this scene was cut because I just don't feel like this is super in character for Chad. Chad is like a hardened veteran at this point. He took a million stabs to every single vital organ in the last movie. He is made of steel at this point. He's not afraid of some high school senior, especially not one that looks like a golden retriever. And finally, there's a deleted scene of Chad and Mindy surviving the attack at the bar.
This was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Now this scene I think they should have kept in. The twins are hardly in the movie at all, and honestly, one of my favorite things that Scream 7 does is reinvents the character of Mindy Meeks Martin to essentially make her the new Gale Weathers. Mindy, in my opinion, works so much better as the new Gale rather than the new Randy. She's got the sassy thing down, dude, and to get a little more of that sass here in this scene, it's pretty fucking cool. I know some of you are gonna hate me for saying this, but none of these deleted scenes would have fixed Scream 7. That's one thing for sure. What do you guys think about these deleted scenes as well as all of these updates in today's video? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.